Joining us now on the phone, he is in the final stretch. It is the final 100 yards here, election eve. Adam Laxalt, as you know, who is the Republican nominee for Senate in Nevada. He joins us via phone. Adam, always good to talk with you, sir. Thanks so much for joining us. How are you feeling today? How are you feeling going into this midterm election, one of the most consequential, knowing that the fate of Senate control could rest on your shoulders?
Well, first and foremost, can you imagine our shock when we hear that Bill Clinton is the closer in 2022? I don't even know that guy was on the campaign trail anymore.
I know.
A lot of jokes I can't say on the radio going around on the Bill Clinton closer. So very interesting.
That's when
choice.
You know there's some desperation there. When of all the people you bring in, it's him.
Yeah, well, and she had Barack Obama just a few days before that. And I always have to remind people that, last time he campaigned in midterms in this state, I won as Attorney General, and he had the worst beating he had ever had, we had ever seen by a president in midterms. And so, and John Legend, the notorious defund the policer, and Jimmy Kimmel cutting some ad. So they are desperate. They're throwing everything on the wall here. She spent $120 million attacking me, trying to land as many blows as possible. And what we've seen the last 3 weeks is my approval went up, and I have the only favorable approval rating running in the whole state right now.
Golly.
Because at the end of the day, people thought these attacks were so preposterous, they were so nasty, they were so false, and they were like, wow, you mean the same guy that served in the Navy, served in Iraq, was a great attorney general for his state, supported by law enforcement, father of 4 little kids. In the end of the day, their attempt at trying to frame me, as these Democrats always try to frame conservatives, failed. That's why we've seen 4 polls in the last week of 6, 6, 5, and 4. The voters have ultimately rejected that messaging, and we feel good heading into election day that we're going to win this thing.
We were talking with Adam Laxalt out in Nevada, and the fate of the Senate could actually rest on his shoulders. So no pressure, no pressure or anything like that, Adam. And he takes it in great stride.
Jeez.
You always have a great temperament. You have a good demeanor.
Well, there is a lot on the line. And look, I just find it hard to believe, despite the unlimited money on their side and the unlimited media support, of course, all the support of both big tech and Hollywood, all of that cannot overcome the deep, deep trouble our country is in right now. And what I've done for the last many months in every room in this state and all across the 2 weeks of our bus tour is simply one message. Everything you're experiencing right now is because of Democrat policies.
And you've laid out solutions.
These are left policies that are destroying our country. They're not someone else's fault. They're not greedy oil executives. They're not, right-wing extremists. It's not Donald Trump. It is Democrat policies.
Right.
And as long as they're voting on that, I think we're in a red tsunami. I think that the voters are going to send that massive referendum message to Joe Biden and people like my senior Senator Catherine Cortez Masto. And that's the first step to taking our country back.
From your lips to God's ears. We're talking with Adam Laxalt. And one quick thing, too, you had noted that your Democrat opponent had been campaigning with John Legend. I mean, she kind of reminds me of Kathy Hochul a little bit. And she's really old, has co-signed the whole defund the police, some of the stuff that she has said about law enforcement and the people that are campaigning with her. She called them systemically racist. She tweeted that she had retweeted people who were calling for a de-investment from police, et cetera, et cetera. And then, of course, we see crime skyrocket. And now Bill Clinton the guy she was just campaigning with over the weekend was on video mocking people's concerns over the very real crime rate. And then we have talking with Adam Laxalt out in Nevada. We have the president of the United States who went out over the weekend saying, no more drilling. We're not going to have any more drilling. We're going to shut down all the coal plants. And then he called someone an idiot because they had a socialist sign. So that seems like a great start going into midterms, calling your voters socialists, telling them you're going to increase their energy prices more, and making fun of them for being concerned about being mugged, robbed, or raped because of the restorative justice crime rate that they've encouraged to spike.
Yeah, if only these people had the courage to run on their record, run on their views. I mean, Senator Masto voted for all this stuff, and then she's got $100 million to package herself up and pretend like she hasn't supported this left-wing agenda. It's really shameful. And, I cannot believe that it hasn't gotten more coverage, but every single human, famous person and former president alive is coming into the state, except for Joe Biden. Joe Biden is on the witness protection program right now in the state of Nevada, and he is nowhere to be found. And so people understand that in the end of the day, it is Joe Biden and Catherine Cortez Masto that have totally destroyed our state and our country, which is why we feel good. We just need people to get out and vote. As long as our voters get out on election day, we're winning today. And if our people come out in droves like we expect them to, we will have a massive victory tomorrow night.
Two last quick things. We're talking with Adam Laxalt, the Republican Senate candidate out in Nevada. Before we let you go here, we know you're incredibly busy. Voter turnout, this is one of the things that we are watching in these, particularly four real battleground states here, these battleground races. In yours, tell me a little bit about, because pollsters and all of that, a lot of times it's a lot of guesswork, and people are still kind of smarting over 2016, so many polls being wrong. What are your thoughts about turnout in Nevada? What are you seeing? And tell people how important, because really the turnout is what is going to clinch this.
Yeah. So at the end of early vote, this is 2 weeks of in-person voting and all of the mail they have, including ballot harvesting and drop boxes. At the end of all that, they're up by registration just over 1 percentage point. And so when you think of the fact that the Democrats have a registration advantage in the state, combined with the fact that they vote, their main part where they gain leads is early vote, to be down only just over 1 point is awesome. We're in great shape. We will have more voters on election day than they will. But it's better than that. I mean, if you look at the last handful of polls, poll that had me up 5, that was a D+1 sample. Poll that had me up 4 was a Democrat +2 sample. Another poll that had me up 6 was a Democrat +4 sample. So when you see in most of these national polls that I'm ahead, that's assuming more Democrats are voting than Republicans. Well, with Democrat +1 heading into election day, there will be more Republicans voting in this election than Democrats. So those numbers should move even further in our direction than what you see in the polls. And so we feel good. Again, people have to get out and vote. And we have snow in northern Nevada, and then we have rain in Vegas, and it never rains in Vegas.
Wow.
So, people freak out. There's a drop of rain, and people better have their plans and better get out and vote and not be deterred by something like weather, because this is our opportunity to change our state for a generation. I mean, this is a huge election, and we've got to start taking back our state. And as you pointed out, if I'm the 51st U.S. Senate seat, that is the big step in taking back our country as well.
And you're in a better position than some of the others in Pennsylvania or Georgia, a way better position. Last question for you, Adam Laxalt, Republican nominee for Senate out of Nevada, who is so far heading the RCP average. I know Cook moved it from toss-up, but had kind of a leans Republican on it as well. Voters, one of the things you've been able to do that your opponent hasn't is articulate solutions. What is the most important issue that you think is going to get your attention first if elected going into Washington, D.C. to represent your state?
Well, look, I think we've got to force Joe Biden to the table and secure our border. And I think he's going to be looking for a lifeline after this shellacking.
Oh, yeah.
I think that we've got to also try to press for a reversal on his green policies that are killing American energy independence. I also hope with these gavels that we go on offense and start holding hearings. And that list is long, starting with Dr. Fauci. But we've got a lot of things to get to the bottom of. People want to know why Hunter Biden is still walking scot-free with everything that's going on and his father being the sitting president of the United States. We have to restore faith in our government, and one way to do it is with oversight.
There we go, right there. Adam Laxalt, we're going to be watching this race, and we're going to be praying for you as well, my friend. Thank you so much for all you do. Keep up the fight, and I have a feeling we'll have some good news tomorrow. Thank you so much. Be safe.
All right, everybody, get out and vote. Let's
Yes,
take back
sir.
our country.
There you go.
Thank you, Dana.
Thank you.